All right. We are back with another not Clone Wars arc, I suppose.
Clone Wars episode.
A standalone episode review. We're going to be talking about Lightsaber Lost.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so some clarification. If you watched our video that we had on the Deserter arc, this will make sense. Currently, we're going through every Clone Wars episode arc by arc in chronological order. Makes the show a lot better, but it's so much work to figure out what do you watch where. And anyway, Lightsaber Lost was put in with the whole Grievous Pursuit and Deserter arc, and it just didn't work.
We were confused.
The list we watched didn't work. The official StarWars.com website hasn't done this arc by arc. They just do chronological episodes. And so anyway, we found a better list that we're using. Mm-hmm. But we wrote notes on this one, so we might as well just make a video on it. But two, it's actually an interesting episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can get into it, but I know we talked a little bit about it's confusing given our current or past mindset. But why don't you share kind of what you think about this episode?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, how you opened. At first, the whole episode, I'm trying to think of how this ties in.
Like, what does that have to do with Grievous and Cut?
Yeah. So that, I mean, obviously I've seen it before, and so I can go back and, remember it out of the arc. But this watch through, honestly, I was confused. And I was even asking you, like, how does this fit in? Am I missing something? But that's just because we were following a random list. It doesn't necessarily mean anything about the episode or the arc overall. But Lightsaber Lost, I think, is a cool episode because you get to see it's different than what you normally see in Clone Wars. It is a little like not slowed down, but it's almost like pulled back, and that's kind of the whole message is you don't always have to rush through things, and when you rush you miss things. And I just liked the message of the overall episode a lot. I think it's very relevant to especially Americans. We like to just go through our to-do list and get things done, and we miss out on the beautiful things right beside us, or the clues, or the problem, or the answer. It's right there, and we're too focused on doing our own thing. But I think that's why I like this episode. Like, yes, it's cool, it's Star Wars, it's good, I like Ahsoka, but I think it's speaking to real life in a good way, and it just makes you think. And I like Ahsoka, so that's cool.
It's interesting. My thoughts about the episode actually really have nothing to do with the episode, if that makes sense. Like, it's more the storytelling elements behind the episode for why I like it. Like, if you strip away all the deeper meaning stuff, it's kind of like not a boring episode, but it's not the greatest. But then there is some layers of things that were intentional. Because this is the one where essentially Ahsoka she really comes into her own a little bit more. You see a seed of change because she's a little bit reckless, and she's just basically
like Anakin.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Basically just Anakin, and loses her lightsaber, and then as punishment, all this stuff happens. You've seen it. And so anyway, what is interesting to me though is somehow in like 20 minutes they really do a condensed hero's journey for Ahsoka. Obviously there's a much larger lifetime hero's journey that's going on, but they do this little microcosm of it, and it was very interesting to me. I was just seeing it like, we haven't listened to commentary on it or anything, but I would guarantee that commentary and maybe even some deleted scenes from this would show it was very intentional, because it's all the elements are there, right? She kind of is like stuck in this place where she's kind of frustrated when she's in the library and things like that, and then she gets placed with the mentor, and then this whole journey goes, and she kind of the descending depths is everything going wrong, and then there's this point where the mentor teaches her something, and then she has this breakthrough, so to speak, right? And then she gains victory, and then immediately she goes and teaches the younglings the very thing, the very idea of patience, of moving slowly, and being thoughtful in your actions. And she thought that youth and energy was the only way, where it's like there's something about wisdom and moving a little slower. So that to me was like, kudos, like that's pretty hard to do in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought that was a pretty cool feat to be able to do that. And I think this is also kind of a pivotal episode. I don't think it's essential. I think you can skip over it, but I think it's pivotal in that it's taking Ahsoka kind of from the complaints people have about her early on, kind of being whiny and opinionated and entitled. Yeah. And it's like a turning point because she's away from Anakin. She's with someone else, and she has to learn things from a different perspective.
Yeah, she can't get away with what she normally does.
Yeah, because her and Anakin would just tear it up, and just like cause complete chaos. And and you can't really have that in like a populated, on the battlefield maybe, but this is like a place for civilians. But yeah, overall, we can go into our ratings. This is a shorter one. We just thought that there were some cool things about it. And in our confusion with the lists, we were like, hey, let's do standalones. But while you're here, we might as well ask you, do you want us to do the standalones? Let us know in the comments. Do you want every Clone Wars episode covered, or do you just want the arcs? Because we're entering into this arena now where there's a lot of standalones. And so we just need to know if you guys want us to skip over them or keep reviewing them. But what's your rating overall?
I think a 5.
You say that positively, so kind of a low number. You're like, yeah, 5.
I don't think it's low. I guess it is low.
It's a failing grade.
That's true. Okay.
No, it's fine though, because in context, you're kind of basing it off of the series as a whole and your interest. And I would give it a 5. I think that's fair.
And I think, I don't know. I think part of it is maybe why it seems lower to me is because of how I was trying to fit it in a story when it wasn't there.
And it's okay to not like the standalone aspect.
Yeah, and I don't hate it by any means. Like I said, I enjoyed it and it had me reflect, and that's what a good show and a good character does. So I don't know. I guess it's hard to compare one episode against like 2 and 3 who have longer story arcs to tell a story when this one just has 20 minutes. So I think that's part of it too. It wasn't bad. It's just compared to an arc that has 3, like, Domino Squad, a lot more was able, so I
can't even compete.
I don't think it's because it's bad. It's just because there is less time. And
so the irony of the episode about patience and slowing down is that it's too rushed.
Yes.
That's why I got a 5.
Yeah.
And that's totally fair. I think for me as well as a 5, and I just remembered this. I don't know if I would say hate. I try not to say hate too much, but I strongly dislike techno music in the Clone Wars. And that's in this episode. I don't know why
he does hate it.
I don't know why they think that that's a good idea. It's so bad.
They're trying to
appeal to the youth. Youth like techno? I don't think so. But let us know what you think of this standalone episode. It's an interesting one for sure. There's a lot more at play in the episode. I don't think it would work really well as a 2 or 3 episode arc. I feel like that would stretch it out.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'd be interested to see why the decisions were made, to keep it short. But let us know what you think about Lightsaber Lost. It's an okay episode, essentially what we landed on. But there's some cool, deeper meanings there.
Yep.
Okay, Star Wars, pretty good for the deeper meanings. But with that, we are 2 Star Wars nerds, and may the Force be with you always.